Here's something nobody tells you about pirates. They had rules, not just don't stab the captain rules, actual written down, signed contracts, health insurance, disability benefits. And yet, we've spent 300 years romanticizing them as these free spirited rebels who answered to no one. So the real question isn't whether pirates were badass. The question is, were they actually happy? Close your eyes and picture a pirate ship. You're probably seeing rum, treasure chests, maybe a parrot. Maybe Johnny Depp stumbling around looking deeply unbothered. What you're not picturing is a smell. Imagine 80 men on a wooden ship, no showers, rotting food, August heat, rats everywhere, not as pets, as competition for your dinner. Scurvy was so common that your teeth could fall out mid-sentence. Dysentery was basically the group activity nobody signed up for. This was the golden age of piracy, roughly 1680 to 1730. And yes, people chose this life. Here's what people think. Pirates were running from something: the law, society, their feelings. But here's what the records actually show. Most pirates were running towards something. They were former sailors, escaped slaves, poor dock workers, men who had already lived lives of brutal exploitation on legal merchant ships, where captains could flog them for sport and wages were stolen regularly. So when they turned pirate, it wasn't chaos they were choosing, it was, weirdly, fairness. Bartholomew Roberts, one of the most successful pirates in history, had a shipboard code that included equal voting rights for all crew members. Plunder was distributed by formula. If you lost an eye in battle, you got paid extra. Compensation. In 1710. The British Royal Navy didn't offer that. People think pirate ships were anarchic, every man for himself. Reality, they were some of the most democratic organizations of the 17th century. The captain wasn't a king. He was more like a CEO who could be fired by popular vote. And he was, regularly. Crews mutinied against bad captains constantly, not violently, but procedurally. They'd hold a vote, write it down, and the guy was out. There were even limits on the captain's power during non-battle hours. One code said the captain couldn't take more food than any other crew member at meals. In a world of kings and aristocrats, this was radical. Genuinely revolutionary stuff happening on boats that smelled like wet dog and despair. Now, did all this democracy and fairness translate to fun? Kind of, in the most chaotic, dangerous, and short-lived way possible. When pirates took a prize ship, the celebration was real. Alcohol flowed. Music was everywhere. Pirates actively kidnapped musicians from ships they raided because having a fiddler on board was considered genuinely important to morale. There are actual court records of pirates specifically asking captured musicians to stay voluntarily. They gambled compulsively. They told stories. They had elaborate nickname cultures: Blackbeard, Calico Jack, Black Bart, because reinvention was part of the whole project. You left your old name on the dock when you turned pirate. You became someone new. And yet, the average pirate's career lasted less than 2 years before he was dead, captured, or retired broke. The treasure everyone imagined usually divided so many ways it amounted to months of wages, not lifetimes of wealth. The famous buried treasure trope, almost entirely fictional. Pirates spent their money, fast, loudly, in port towns because they knew they probably wouldn't live to spend it slowly. There's something almost unbearably human about that. Spending like you'll die tomorrow because, statistically, you might. People think pirates' freedom was about having no rules, but what they actually built was a system where the rules made sense to the people living under them, not handed down from a king, not enforced by someone born into power, agreed upon, by vote, by people who had everything to lose. Was it violent? Absolutely. Was it brutal and short and soaked in rum and questionable decisions? Without question. But there was dignity in it. A strange, salt-crusted dignity that a lot of the respectable world of 1710 couldn't claim. So, did pirates have fun? Yes, the terrifying, fleeting kind. The kind that people choose when the alternative is a lifetime of safe, quiet, supervised misery. And maybe that's the uncomfortable thing this whole story is really about. Not pirates at all. Maybe it's about how far people will sail into genuine danger just to feel like, for once in their lives, the rules were theirs.